Hello and welcome to another video. Today I am continuing my exploration of Vogue patterns and their difficulty level. This one is rated at their average level and it consists of a blouse and a skirt. I do really like the look of this one and I'm keen to have it in my wardrobe. For the blouse, I'm going to use this silky fabric, which I think is actually 100% real silk, if I'm reading my burn test correctly. I got this in an ex-dressmaker's stash that I found on Facebook Marketplace, so I'm not really sure what it is, but I think it is silk. And then for the skirt, I'm going to use this fabric that I, surprise, surprise, found in an op shop. It is a cotton, so it should be nice and friendly to work with, and I really like the color. So let's get to cutting out the paper pattern and then all its bits in the fabric. So many pieces to this pattern, it's basically taking up my entire table. I'm going to start putting it together and I'm going to do the blouse first because that's what the instructions put first. So the red pieces can be put aside for now. I'm just going to focus on these blouse pieces. I'm doing this one, which is blouse B, and these are the pieces that have interfacing. Those pieces are now interfaced, so that step is done. Next, we are working on the front of the blouse. So there's a dart in the side, and then we move on to putting together these weird but fun flappy bits and attaching them, and then the front sleeve. My two fronts are now together. I definitely made life harder by choosing this fabric. It's very slippy and movable. It changes shape every time you look at it, let alone try and pin it. But I think it's gonna be pretty. Now I need to put the fronts aside and work on the back pieces. So the back pieces actually have their sleeve portion built in, so I don't need to attach a sleeve, which is lovely, but I do need to do some darts. And look at this itty bitty dart. It's so little. I love it. It's probably going to be really annoying to sew, but it's adorable. So yeah, I've got to do 2 darts and then this center back seam. And then I think I can attach to the front pieces. Back piece is all together, so now I can attach these front pieces, but I'm only stitching this section for the moment. According to the instructions, we are only stitching the shoulder seam to this point, and then we're doing buttonholes, and then we're stitching more of the side seams. I'm really not sure why they're doing it in this order. I don't see, at this point, maybe there's a reason, but I don't see why you couldn't do buttonholes first when you're still working on the front, or buttonholes after you've stitched both these bits. I don't see a reason, but that doesn't mean there isn't one. I am going to do exactly as the instructions say. So the shoulder seams, buttonholes, and then the side seams, as well as some overlocking in there. My blouse is taking shape and looking blouse-like. Now I'm going to put together the facing that finishes the front, and then that gets put on and then understitched, and then to finish bottom edges, the hem gets done. Front facing is all in and the bottom hem is done, so those edges are all finished. All that's left is to finish the sleeve edges, which have their own facing, so I'm going to put that on. And finally there's some buttons to put in. I've got these ones. They actually came from Canada. My parents brought them back for me after they went on a trip to Canada. My family brings me the best souvenirs. They know just what I like. My blouse is finished. It's so silky and luxurious. So yeah, that's done. So now I can move on to this skirt. And first thing in the instructions is to sew the front and backs together, but not together. Not the side seams. The front piece and the front piece together, and the back piece and the back piece together. Plus a pleat section in the middle, but not the side seams. And then once my skirt sections are together, I can make the pleats. My pleats front and back are now in and basted down, so it is time for the most important part, the pockets. So I'm going to overlock some of these edges and then attach them and then do the side seams. That's my skirt pretty much together with all the seams. I really like these pockets. It's a fun shape and design and not something I've done before, so that was cool. And now I just need to put the zip in the left-hand side and then the waistband. I have a big box of zips. Again, my parents brought this box of zips back from Canada for me. The most useful of souvenirs. Just a few there. It's not quite the right color for the fabric, but it's a lapped zip, so you won't actually see it in the end if I do it right. No guarantees on that, but let's put this in. Waistband is on and finished, and also have sewn on the side clasp there. So the top of this is all finished. All that's left to do on this now is the hem. So outfit is complete and I'm very excited to try it on, but there is one more thing. Like, technically blouse and skirt are done, but there is a belt with the pattern. So I'm gonna make the belt and then we can try everything on. Belt is now complete, so the entire outfit is finished. Let's try it on. So this is Vogue average level. Pattern is complete. For once, I think I actually agree with the stated difficulty level. I don't think there were any super fiddly pieces or weirdly shaped ones. There were no seams that were awkward or hard to sew, and no really unusual techniques. I definitely wouldn't call it an easy one. There were a lot of pieces, and the instructions weren't always super clear, but I do think it fits in with that intermediate level. Though I definitely made this blouse harder for myself by choosing to sew it in such a slippery, shape-changing fabric. This silk was a problem, but it just sounded so luxurious to have a silk blouse. And I think it's turned out okay. The elbow closure sections, I think, need a bit of work and adjustment, but everywhere else turned out okay. But what do you think? Would you consider this an average or intermediate level pattern? As usual, let me know in the comments down below. I'm really curious to see what you would consider this pattern to be. It took me 18 hours to complete these pieces, so longer than these first two projects, but there were 2 pieces to this outfit, or 3 if you count the belt, so it makes sense that it would take longer. As to things that I would change during construction, same as last week, there's not a lot. I'd probably change the buttonholes in the blouse to just normal buttonholes done by machine as opposed to the bound buttonholes. I find bound buttonholes quite fiddly to do. I mean, this is only the second time I've ever done them, so I'm much more comfortable just whizzing them through on the machine. And I don't think it makes that much difference once you're wearing the garment and buttons are in. But that's all I'd really change about the blouse. That and do the sleeves better next time around. As for the skirt, I think the only thing I would change would be the hem, which, not gonna lie, I already did. The pattern instructions said to finish the edge with some seam binding or fold over 6mm and press that and then hand stitch it. But I didn't have any seam binding and I didn't think a hand stitch would hold a raw edge as securely as a machine stitch. So I decided to overlock it and then hand stitch it. I am trying to follow the pattern instructions, but I do also want clothes that I make to last and not have to remake them. But I really enjoyed making this outfit. I love a vintage style and I'm very happy with this end result, especially the skirt and the pockets. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and join me next week for the final installment in this series where I'm going to tackle an advanced pattern, which is going to be this one, a jumpsuit. I love me a jumpsuit. So come back next week for that and I'll see you then. Bye!